So feel the sensation of the feet on the floor. So I go through this posture so we can align our bodies. So just to remind everyone, so that when you do this on your own, it's like almost automatic. And then feel the sensation of your hands in your lap. Maybe if your legs are cross-legged, the weight of your legs on your feet and your sits bones in the chair. Line your ribs with your hips and your shoulders with your hips and just your ears with your hips. So just see what happens to your spine when you start to do that. You almost automatically want to lengthen the spine once you go through that process. And then just go to the crown of the head and release any tension there. Relax your scalp and the forehead and the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the area around the mouth, and the back of your tongue, your jaw, the ears, the inner ear, and the back of the head and your neck. And allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And just be aware of the sensation of your breath as you inhale and exhale. Maybe the nostrils, maybe the chest cavity, maybe the belly. Just choose one. Then you can be aware of the sounds in your environment, just allowing the sounds to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. Maybe also develop an awareness of how often you become distracted by sound when you're meditating. So, today at the YMCA, we go through this process every session because it's allowed there. And today there was all the usual sounds, except there was a kids' camp, and then there was a bunch of people sort of sitting on one side of the room. And I know there's a cupboard there where they put balls and things. And somebody threw a ball in and slammed the door, and all the people on the other side of the room went, "Ow!" And then some swear words came out because I was frightened. So see how distracted you can become. And sometimes people send me texts during these sessions and I jump a mile because it comes through my computer and then in my headphones. The ding, very loud ding. So there's always a kind of a way of imagining that sound can happen, particularly if you're living with other people, and also trying to not be distracted by it. And then come to your mind and see what's there this evening, putting some space in between your thoughts. You might be struggling with something tonight. maybe some painful emotion or situation. And just give yourself some space to feel those emotions and then acknowledge them, and then just be careful about following a story around them. Remembering to mind all the people of your life, your loved ones, your strangers, and then all those people that we don't know, and all those sentient beings who we don't know. And these relationships we have with all these people are impermanent, and they're all equal. They want to be happy. They don't want to suffer, and they all have this extraordinary capacity, this Buddha mind. So we think about all these sentient beings. And tonight I was just going through Facebook, seeing some things, and I found this post. This woman has a parrot, a cockatoo, and she has a soundboard for her cockatoo. And when the cockatoo, I think the name is Ellie, when the cockatoo has pain or wants something, she's actually taught her cockatoo how to FaceTime her when the cockatoo wants to talk to her. And the cockatoo was expressing that it was in pain, and the owner was going through various different parts of the cockatoo's body till they finally found the source of the pain, the wing. So how fortunate for that animal to have an opportunity to express what's going on for them to their owner, because most don't. So all these animals in the forest here that I run into every day, they don't have anyone to kind of go to and tap on the soundboard and go, oh, my foot hurts, or I ran into a tree and my wing hurts. They just have to deal with it. So think about maybe this evening all those sentient beings who don't have anyone really to take care of them, and if they do, they can't communicate with them to explain what's happening for them. So anyway, just a little thought. And then, for all of you good people here, everyone has something happening in their life. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified, and this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with this power of regret, and sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And then think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we rely on Buddha Vajrasattva, who we see more as a doctor than as a higher power. No, we're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine, his methods. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light. And he's sitting in the cross-legged position. And he has this beautiful face. And he's like smiling at you peacefully, happily, and accepting you just as you're turning up this evening. So whatever's going on, it's all fine. And he has his arms are crossed at his heart. So the left hand is closest to the heart, and the right arm is crossed over the left. And the left hand is holding a bell, and this represents wisdom, and the right hand is holding a vajra, and this represents the indestructibility of compassion. And when they're crossed like that, this represents enlightenment, infinite wisdom, and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result in suffering for them sometime in the future. So make strong aspiration to do this practice for all these sentient beings. And you just think, may I must purify for their sake. And then we come to this power of remedy, and this is the medicine doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space. Not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasata Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hom Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Jita Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jido Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of your speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. Again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it is not possible to do anything other than benefit others with your speech, even yourself. And next is the purification of your mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So this happens as instantaneously as when you walk into a room and turn on a light. The light coming and dispelling all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment and neediness and bitterness and grudges and depression, anxiety, resentment, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Seka A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawal Sitokaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anarakta Mebawal Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Seka A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawal Sitokaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anarakta Mebawal Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Seka A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anarakta Mebawal Sabasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Seka A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anarakta Mebawal Sabasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Seka A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anarakta Mebawal Sabasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Seka A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anarakta Mebawal Sabasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Seka A Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified, and think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love, kindness, forgiveness, wisdom, and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And now you imagine that Vajrasattva sends nectar again, flowing down, pushing out all the negativities of the body, and nectar flowing up, pushing out all the negativity of the speech, and the light coming and blasting all the delusions. And this is happening all at the same time, so quite busy. And so you imagine in this way, eradicating all the, even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anarakta Mebawal Savasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Seka A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anarakta Mebawal Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Seka A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anarakta Mebawal Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Seka A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anarakta Mebawal Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Seka A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Sawasidi mebiyata sawakama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe, Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita, Drida meboa, Sitokaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Sawasidi mebiyata sawakama sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mipiyata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. Now we come to the power of resolve, and this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. And it's a really crucial one. And this is this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. And without this, we're just going to keep doing the same old things over and over again. So this determination, this decision we make, it becomes like an aspiration to refrain from harming. And it kind of guides us. It's all just like becomes like guardrails for us. So rejoice in the effort you've made to come along tonight, this morning, wherever you are. And then think of something you'd like to work on. Maybe you ruminate a lot about things. So maybe that could be something to watch, because that harms you yourself. And then think Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So let's just meditate a little bit on emptiness. So we think, in emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So just place your mind in this kind of space for a while, and whatever level you understand that. And we think of all phenomena as being empty. And what they mean by that is they don't exist from their own side. And the way we perceive things, the way we look at things, may not really actually be the way they exist. So it's worth thinking about that for a while. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And so let's just do our chanting the names of Manjushri for the swift discovery of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. His voice melodious like that of Brahma, completely filling all the triple world, replied as follows to the Lord of Secrets, to Vajrapani, strongest of the strong, that you, abounding in supreme compassion and aiming to assist all living beings, are willing and prepared to hear from me the evil, quelling, purifying chanting. The chanting of the names so filled with meaning of Manjushri's embodiment of wisdom. How truly excellent, O Vajradhara! How excellent of you, O Vajrapani! Okay. Let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, and again, discovering Lama Zopa Rinpoche quickly, and then for all of your own individual